Hello, welcome to the video notes for lesson 7.3. This lesson is all about functions. Okay, our target is I can determine if a relation is a function. You're going to see a lot of vocabulary in the next couple pages of notes, so it's really important that you pay attention. So the first term that we're going to talk about is a relation. Any set of ordered pairs is called a relation. Okay? So, and we've already been working with ordered pairs and plotting them and getting them from tables and things like that. So, we're also going to be talking about set notation, and they have these curly brackets on the end, and then all you have to do is list your ordered pairs. It makes sense to list them in some sort of order so you can tell like all the x values go from least to greatest. That's basically the best way to do it. And what we call it is we say the set of coordinates or ordered pairs, and these are all, that's the set right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ordered pairs. Alright, some other terms we're going to talk about. The input values. The input values are the x coordinates. All the x values are the input. So if you look at our set of ordered pairs up here, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, those are all our input values. The output values are all the y coordinates. Okay? 0, 8, 16, 24, and 32. So output goes with the y values, input goes with the x values. And we've already been talking about that in math, so that should make sense too. Okay, the next thing that we're going to talk about is mapping diagram. So what you see down here, these are the same numbers from the table, but they are not. This is no longer a table. What we're going to be doing is, you'll see that in the next couple pages, we're going to take these numbers and we're going to write them vertically, and you draw arrows from the input value to the output value. Alright? So a mapping diagram describes a relationship by linking the input values to the corresponding output values using arrows. Alright, so you can see your arrows right here. And by the way, because of this map, this is a function. Alright, and we're going to talk about y in just a few moments here. Alright, so we've got a table up here. This is a mapping diagram, and basically it's just a list of the values and they're connected by arrows. Alright? By the way, up here, just one more time, so the set of ordered pairs or coordinate points. So we're talking about sets. Alright? Okay, so let's talk about what is a function. So over on the next page, so that was page 12, we're going to look at page 13 next. How to make a mapping diagram. So what you do is, you list your input values all together. So you'll see they give us the set of ordered pairs, see the little curly brackets, okay? And we've got our input, and our output. Another way to write this is our x and our y values, okay? Now, is this a function? So, oh, by the way, these numbers, where did they come from? If you look up above, so -2, -1, 0, and 1 all come from the x values, and then 3, 2, and 1 are the y values. Now, some of you might be saying, well, 1 happens twice. Right, when we do these mapping diagrams, we only write the number one time, and then we'll draw the arrows accordingly. Okay, so this is a function. Why is it a function? Well, how many outputs does each input have? -2 only goes to one number. -1 only goes to one number. 0 only goes to one number. And 1 only goes to one number. Now 0 and 1 both go to the same number, but that doesn't matter. As long as each one of the inputs goes to only one output, then this is a function. Alright? So, let's take a look at the next example. So we've got 0, 1. Here's our set of ordered pairs. 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, and 3, 2. Alright? So first I'm going to list off all my x values. So I've got 0, 1, 2, and 3. 0, 1, 2, and 3. And if you want to put a big oval around it, you can. I usually put a little x or output underneath it or above it. Okay, now we're going to list all our y values. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and 2. So 1, 2, 3. Now I'm not going to write 2 again because I already have it. So you only write each value one time. Okay? Now let's draw arrows. So 0 goes to 1. 1 goes to 2. 2 goes to 3. And 3 goes to 2. Now, how many outputs does each input have? Oh, by the way, this is our y or our output. So each input goes to only one output. So this is a function. It's very important that you remember that. This is a function. Alright, now we're going to take a look at another example. And I bet some of you might be guessing that this is probably going to be not a function. Well, let's watch. So, again, I'm going to list my input values. So I have 1, I have another 1, I have a 4, and another 4. So I have 1 and 4. Now, my output, I've got -1, 1, 2, and -2. Alright, so let's watch what happens. So here's my input, or my x values. Here's my output, or my y values. So now we draw our arrows. So 1 goes to -1, and 1 also goes to +1. 4 goes to 2, and 4 also goes to -2. Okay, how many outputs does each input have? Well, 1 has 2 outputs, and 4 has 2 outputs. So what does that mean? That means this is not a function. Not a function. Okay? Very important. Why is it not a function? Because if an input has more than one output, it is not a function. That's the definition. Alright, so let's talk about this rule over on the next page. A function is a rule for taking each input value and producing exactly one output value. So that's why this works. A relation is a function if each input has exactly one output. So if you look down below, we have an example, and this is one we've already done. So each input only goes to one number. But over here in the not a function example, you'll see that the input here goes to 2 different numbers. So this is one way we can test a relation to see if it is a function. Alright? And when you're answering the question, if it's a function or not, what you're going to write is this. So for this one, yes. And the reason why, each input has exactly one output. Each input, or x, has exactly one output, which is y. The next one, the not a function. When you're going to answer this, you'll say, no, it's not a function, and the reason why 1 and 4 have more than one output. And if you want to say that they have 2 outputs, that's fine. I always just say more than one. Okay, because it's going to be different every time. All right, here's another way to. So what we were just looking at is if you have points or ordered pairs, or if you have a table, how you can determine if you have a function or not. If you have a graph, we're going to do something called the vertical line test. Now, vertical means a line that's going straight up and down, okay? So, the vertical line test is actually very simple. All you do, and you can see in our example here, is you draw vertical lines through all the points that you see on the graph. And if the vertical lines touch more than one point, it is not a function. So if I'm looking at this first example here, this is a function. And the reason why it is a function, because each line, each vertical line, goes through exactly one point. What that means is basically the same thing as the reasoning we did for the other one. Each output or each input only has one output, and that's what it looks like. Now if we look at our other example here, these vertical lines go through more than one point. So this is obviously not a function, and the reason it is not a function is because each vertical line goes through more than one point. Oops. Each vertical line goes through more than one point. All right, pretty simple. Okay, we are going to just take a look at one more quick example. I know this video is getting a little long, but we've covered a lot of awesome stuff. So this is very, very powerful. Okay, which relations are functions? Use mapping diagrams to explain your reason. Okay, so we have some sets of ordered pairs, or sets of coordinates. Okay, I'm going to help you with this first one. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write all my inputs, or x values. So I've got -2, 0, 1, 2, and 3. -2, 0, 1, 2, and 3. And I like to put a big oval around it and put an X or input here. Now I'm going to list all my Y values or outputs. 2, 1, 4, 5, -4. So I've got 2, 1, 4, 5, -4. And put a big loop around and Y. Now draw arrows. And what you see is that each input has only one output. So is this a function? Yes. And then I want you to write the reason, because each input has exactly one output. You're going to do B on your own. So I want you to try B on your own. So I'm going to give you a hint. This is kind of easy, because if you look, there's only one input value for all 4 of these. It's -2. So there's part of it done for you. So now finish this. You also need to make sure you write your complete statements. I'm going to be looking for that. The next part here, plot the above relations and use the vertical line test to determine if the relations are functions. Okay, so you're going to plot all those points from up above. So like the first one, we've got -2, 2. And then we have 0, 1. And then we have 1, 4. Alright, then you're going to draw some vertical lines through these points. And if any of the vertical lines hit more than one point, then it is not a function. We already know this first one is a function. But this time, your explanation is going to be because the vertical line goes through exactly one point. Alright, I know this video is getting really long, but as you all know, I like to plant secrets in ways for you to earn points on your scoreboard. So, here is the next way for you to earn points on your scoreboard. If you go back through here, you're going to see there's a bunch of definitions. We've got a function, which is a rule for taking each input value and producing exactly one output value. And then back on page 12, we have a mapping diagram, input, output, and relation. Alright? So that's 5 different definitions. That means you can earn up to 5 points. Here's what we're going to do. You're not allowed to announce this in class. All you need to do is raise your hand and tell me one of the definitions. For every definition I get, I'll give you a point for up to 5 points. Here's the trick. Each definition has to be given to me by a different person. Alright? If you're having any trouble with this, make sure you come and see me or get help from a friend or your parents. Good luck, and we will see you in math.